I've been thinking about this for a while. About like how there's this difference in contrast with boys and girls, and society will have you think that everything needs to be equal. They're always pushing for equality, but the more I spend time with my kids, the more I realize is that men and women, boys and girls, are not equal and they're not interchangeable. And this is what I mean. You got a lot of guys who are very soft and they think of themselves as girls and they call themselves women and stuff, but they're not. And then you got a lot of these macho women that compare themselves to men and say, "Oh, I can do what a man can," and they can't. Like, it's in my son's nature to run around, make himself known, make a whole lot of noise, tear stuff up. And on the flip side, it's in my daughter's nature to just kind of chill, hang out, vibe, eat, enjoy good entertainment, good food, good music. And it's not to say they neither one of them enjoy like similar things. Like, yeah, my daughter like running around and stuff too. And sometimes my son just wants to sit and rest for a while. But the majority of the time they're acting out of who they are gender wise. Like, my daughter can spend the whole day just chilling, and when she gets up, she helps. She's 1 years old. She helps if she sees me cleaning up, she'll grab a broom and try to sweep or something. My son does that too, but at the same time, he would much rather be running around. Like, a lot of times when it's quiet like this, either he's in the playroom playing with his Legos, or he's getting tired, he's winding down, he wants some juice or something like that. And it just made me think about like how women are in social media, how they're always looking for attention, validation, and affection. And it's like it's in our nature to desire that, but society is constantly pulling at women, trying to get us to seem tough and independent and, competing against men. And the more I think about it, I imagine if my daughter had that instilled in her, that she had to get out here and, she had to keep up with my son, I would never want that for her. Same with my son. Like, some days when I just be chilling and he just be running around, jumping around and stuff, like, it takes a lot of the strength for me to tell him to like sit down and stop running around so much, or even, hey, your sister's chilling, why can't you chill? Because he's a boy. That's why he is naturally pumped, full of testosterone, and he needs something to do. And he's gonna find something to do if I don't give him anything productive. But anyway, this is the thing that I'm starting to realize. Let's go like from the girl's perspective. It's easier because I'm a woman, right? Like, the more that I deal with my daughter, cause so I have a 2 year old. My son's two, my daughter's one. They right behind each other. And the more that I deal with my daughter, the more that I realize that she's very strategic in when she wants things. She uses emotion a lot, even to the point where she manipulates to get her way. And that's not her being a bad person. That's just her nature as a female. Like, she doesn't really bully her way into things. And, it just made me realize how unnatural masculinity, that level of masculinity, is for women. Because you got to think about it. Like, a lot of women that are tough like that, I noticed that they were raised to be tough. They were raised mostly being taught by their moms who had them with an unfit guy, that they have to overcompensate. And no, your daughter don't have to be tough because you had her with a guy that was not worthy of having a family. But oftentimes that gets instilled. So then now you got multiple generations of women that have been programmed that they gotta break away or whatever from their own nature of being feminine. And it made me realize how often that happens, because my daughter, yeah, she got a tough side to her too, but she's not tough overall. Sometimes she and my son, they get into a little spat, but she's not trying to like boss up on him. Before she square up with him, she'll call me. or she'll be like dad. She'll call her daddy. Like she'll grab the phone. Like, and my son, he knows. Like, if my daughter get mad enough at him to where she's getting my attention so she can put their daddy on the phone, it's a wrap. Like whatever he doing, he stops. Because he knows once it gets routed up, dad. I mean, dad handle things the way he handle things, and dad usually ain't trying to hear no long stories. He's just like, okay, this is my judgment, and that's it. And it just makes you realize that femininity has to be maintained. So, like, my daughter is naturally feminine, and we have to protect that, and we have to maintain that. So there are times when, like, when she'll be outside playing, and we'll overhear other moms, tell her daughters, like, you need to keep up with the boys and all that. Stop crying. You the only girl out here. You need to be tough. And it's like, I never tell my daughter that. Like, I remember my daughter was out playing. There was a group of kids. They were at the park, and my daughter, sometimes she gets a little too warm. So she'll just stop playing in the middle of everything. She don't care if she's playing hide and go seek, tag, nothing. If she gets too hot, she goes and sits in the shade. And there was this other lady here. She had her daughters out there, and it was like she gave them a look like, you better not, you better not clock out type energy. And it just made me realize, like, we are training our daughters to be straight up dudes, and it's so tragic. That being said, I'm gonna segue into what it's like raising a little boy. Now, with my son, he is all he's leave him alone. Like, leave him alone. Like, that's how guys are. Just leave me alone. Let me do what I'm doing, and I'll come give you a hug real quick. But I gotta go. And that's natural. And oftentimes it's like, on the flip side, we train our girls to be tough, and then we train our boys as women oftentimes to behave in ways that we can understand. But they're boys. Like, my son is always up to something. He's doing something right now. I can hear him. And he know I can't see him right now. And he is having a good time. But I know when I get up after this video and go check on what he's doing, either I'm gonna have to clean up, or I'm gonna have to figure out what he done covered up. And how did he learn how to cover up? His sister. His sister done taught him how to hide all kinds of stuff. To where by the time I get around to whatever he's doing, you know, like, I just had a pair of headphones. Like, I'm like, he's always played with those headphones, but he figured out how to take them apart. And that's not odd. But what was odd was that when he took my little headphones apart, like, just mechanically just took it apart, he handed it over to his sister, and she just kind of covered it up to where when I went looking for my headphones, lo and behold, there it was. Now, I know she did not have the physical strength to do that, but it goes to show you, like, how the dynamic between male and female is crucial. Like, we can't keep, having this whole, gender war is always going to be a thing because the majority of people have to have a problem with something, right? But I'm just saying, for those of us who are actually thinking through life, um, men and women, we need each other. We're both relevant to each other. So, and I know I didn't spend as much time about my son than I did my daughter, because that's how simple boys are. I hate to say it. Like, my husband says all the time, it's easier dealing with it's easier dealing with 5 sons than 1 daughter. And he ain't never lied. With my daughter, it's with women, they take a lot of time, they take a lot of dedication, they take a lot of energy, and you can't get tired. You like, the deal with you gotta, the female species have to be loved to be tolerated. And I am so glad my love for my daughter is built in, because whew, girls, they take a lot out of you. Now, boys, just most times it's real simple. Give him a snack, make sure his hands are clean. Just basic stuff. Don't leave him alone too long. If he cry, he might tear something up. Give them something. If you keep them productive, they're good. Now I see why people throw their sons into sports. You ain't got to worry about him tearing up nothing if he's already punching a bag. Like, he got somewhere to transfer that energy. Yeah, I'm about to check on him right now.